Okay. Hi, and welcome to News Around the League. I'm Josh Abel along with Sean, Dan, and Sammy, and today we're talking about our playoff predictions. Sean, who do you see making it in the number one seeds on the East and the West?
Well, Josh, in the East, I got to go with the Raptors as the number one seed, and in the West, I got to go with the defending champions, the Golden State Warriors. What about you, Dan?
I have to agree with you on that, Sean. I think Toronto, right now, they're only a game back from Milwaukee. I think Toronto can take the number one spot from Milwaukee, and I think Golden State has it all wrapped up in the West, and they should just easily make a run in the conference as well. Sam?
Toronto adding Marc Gasol, along with Kawhi Leonard and Kyle Lowry is a great addition. As well as I feel like people don't give Danny Green the credit he deserves. I feel like he's a very, underrated role player for Toronto. And then, they just went out and got Jeremy Lin, which is another great addition for their bench. And I feel like that is, was going to get them to that one seed and keep them there. And then as far as the West, it's a clear take is on Golden State.
Well, for me, I have Golden State on the West. They're just too powerful to overtake. Denver and OKC are right there, but Golden State at the end of the day is going to be out on top. But on the East, I have to differ with you guys a little bit. I think the Milwaukee Bucks hold on to that seed. They have Greek Freak. They added Nikolai Mirotic. They didn't have to give up for that. And Chris Middleton coming into his own a little bit more. I think you can see that just being strong enough on the Eastern Conference to stay at the one seed.
So let's my fault. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Sorry.
Let's look at it. Why do you feel that Milwaukee is better than Toronto? Why do you feel that they're a better team?
You look at it, when they added Nikolai Mirotic, they didn't really have to give much up to get him. They had to give away Thon Maker to Detroit. And Detroit sent Stanley Johnson to New Orleans for him. So you look at it, they kept their core intact to make that trade while adding a player who can shoot the three, who can help space the floor a little bit more to allow Giannis to do his job.
But where does he fit in? Where do you think, does Mirotic a starter for Milwaukee, or is he off the bench?
If he can come back at the form he was before injury this year, yeah, a little bit iffy with all the injuries, but I feel that he could fit into that starting five.
So now I feel like if you do start him in Milwaukee and he does play good, you got that chemistry going, and then he does get hurt. I feel like that's where it meshes with the chemistry. I will bet you that Mirotic does get hurt within these next 20-some games for Milwaukee.
I see,
you
his
could
point
see
is
that, yeah, but you have to look at it this way. His low isn't going to be as much. He did have Anthony Davis hurt down there, and he was the main piece having to make the plays.
Julius Randle was the main piece.
You can look at it that way too, but I mean from beyond the arc.
Because Mirotic missed more time than Anthony Davis did.
Well, you see that you guys are quick to bring up the point as far as, Milwaukee adding, Mirotic, which that is a big, key factor for them. But how about the addition of Marc Gasol? That is an addition for Toronto that is incredible. He adds
the only problem with the addition of Marc Gasol is you did
presence.
have to get rid of Valanciunas, but on the contrary, Valanciunas was also hurt all year.
Yeah.
So
But you
you
gotta look at it though. Would you rather have Valanciunas or Marc Gasol? Marc Gasol.
And one other thing, and it's close for me between Milwaukee and Toronto. I have it a half-game split.
I think we all got him at the 1-2.
Yeah.
Right? You probably got Toronto at 2, and us three all got Milwaukee at 2.
Yeah.
Now let's flip it over to the Western Conference. Who do you guys have right now at the 2 seed in the West? Who do you think will finish? Right now it's Denver, and I don't really know what they're up. I think they're up, half a game, Sean?
About a half a game.
They're about 2 games up on OKC. But to me, I think OKC, especially with the surge of Paul George this last 10, for the majority of the season, Paul George has just been lights out. But especially in these last 10 games, you really can see Paul George tapping into where he was before that severe leg injury happened. So I think OKC overthrows Denver. Even though I do really like Denver, I put them right there at the number 3, even though Denver, to me, is probably the best, most well-rounded team in the NBA.
Oh, definitely. I would have to agree with you, Dan. I think OKC is going to squeak out at the 2 seed over Denver. OKC has more star power than Denver. They got Russell Westbrook dropping triple-doubles almost every game. Paul George is going on this MVP streak that's unbelievable. Jokic, he's playing a great season, but overall, I think OKC has the better pieces around them.
And it helps having Steven Adams.
I
think Steven Adams can definitely help.
I have to disagree. I have to disagree with you here. You said that you feel OKC has the better pieces around them. Why do you think that?
No, he's star power. He thinks
Well, as far as star power, I agree, but you got to take into consideration the load that you're putting on to Russell Westbrook and Paul George. You're relying on them to people the whole way through the playoffs. You know,
Well, we'll see.
I believe
per
they have more
se-
depth than
per-
you're giving them credit for as well.
Huh?
Dennis Schroeder, he's still healthy.
They
right
have
now,
more
right?
depth.
Oh yeah, and they got
Yeah,
Dennis
Dennis
Schroeder.
Schroeder's still.
And that's
I
not
mean,
even to
Dennis-
mention
Dennis
Andre
Schroeder,
Roberson
though, I
isn't
mean-
even back yet. As soon as Andre Roberson comes back,
I mean, Andre Roberson. Like, I mean, I'm
Dennis
and-
Schroeder is a
I'm
top
gonna-
tier.
let me
He
finish.
can start
on
on
the
our
defensive
team.
side of the ball, that takes so much pressure off of Westbrook having to guard the best player night in, night out, especially towards the end of the season when it comes in. When they start playing teams like Golden State, it'll help Westbrook to be able to go guard Clay. Even though guarding Clay isn't easier, do you think, would you rather guard Clay or Curry? To me, I'd rather just guard Clay.
I'd rather guard Clay
I
because
would-
you
I would-
know what his game is.
Yeah, coming off screens, catching and shooting. Now, if Westbrook was guarding Curry, Curry's just going to run around, dribble around. It's
Yeah.
going to tire Westbrook out, especially when Westbrook's got to not carry the offensive load because he's getting help from
Well,
Paul
see,
George
I have
this
to
year.
disagree with you, gentlemen, here. And my number 2 seed in the West would be Denver. I feel like they're more well-rounded. I feel like, you know, with the addition of Isaiah Thomas coming back off injury, that he puts them above, you know, where they were already. You know, the point guard.
You
depth,
also
they
have to take
Jamal
in
Murray.
consideration of Isaiah Thomas adjusting to a new offense, getting back perfectly 100% healthy. So that's gonna maybe.
I think
Chime in
IT
a
fits.
few
I think
losses.
IT
I
fits
think
well
IT
in
yeah,
fits
that.
well in that
No, I'm
system.
not saying he doesn't, but he still has to adjust.
I mean, he has to adjust
To
a
me,
little
he's
bit,
had the
but
whole
he's there.
offseason to adjust.
Yeah.
He's been there injured. He's been
He's
learning
there.
the system. He's
Yeah.
good. He's good.
He's
for
good.
Denver.
He's ready.
Yeah.
All he needs to do is just get the playing
IT
time.
right now, he's not there to stay long term. IT right now is there to show the other 31 teams that he can still play basketball.
No
You gotta
doubt.
think, this guy, when he was in Boston, he was close to getting a max contract deal until Boston decided they wanted to backstab him and ship
then,
him
yeah,
to,
then
and
he
ship him
got
to
Cleveland
Cleveland. And
for
after
Playing out.
Isaiah Thomas put his whole body on the line for Boston in the playoffs, and it really hurt his hip. It kind of almost diminished his career in Cleveland. Now he's going to
Yeah.
Denver. Now he's there to prove something. To me, I think Isaiah Thomas does stay healthy in Denver. I think he does something. Now, I don't think it'll be enough to let them stay at the 2 seed, but I do have him going at the 3 seed. I have him making a decent run in the playoffs.
I think Isaiah Thomas is, you know, will be able to help them with staying the 2 seed, as well as, you know, the addition of Gary Harris coming back in a couple weeks from injury. I feel like once he comes back, that'll add, you know, even more depth to what they already have. And, you know, and I feel like OKC, you know, overall just doesn't have, you know, they definitely have the star power, you know, with PG and with Russell Westbrook. But as far as, you know, the overall depth, I feel like they don't have what it takes to compete with Denver.
You can make a strong case for both of those teams to be that 2 seed in the West. But I do feel that with Paul George playing at an MVP caliber right now, has been for most of the season as well, I could see it being a half game separation between those
definitely.
two.
But
Yeah.
do you feel that? Do you
Split.
feel that with Paul George, you know, taking on the amount of work, you know, the load that he is inquiring, you know, on this tear that he's on, do you feel like that's gonna ultimately slow him down in the long run?
Yes, I actually don't think he's going to slow down.
No.
Because you
So
look
you know,
at
so I mean, like you know, for instance, like, you know, I'm not. This is kind of going a bit off topic, but James Harden, you know, often has the same situation where he dominates all regular season, and then he gets into the playoffs, and we've all seen, you know, he tends to
No,
wear
why,
down.
I think,
we've
why I
seen-
think it wears on James Harden is a couple different reasons. One, I think the pressure. I think once he gets on that main stage, you know, usually it's the Western Conference Finals. I think it's
Well,
really
I mean, we
good
all
for James
seen
Harden.
last year about
Yeah,
the
and-
pressure,
and-
but what about the
and
pressure
then
on
also-
PG last
that's-
year?
that's-
He
Paul George
performed
did
terrible.
so. But it also hurts James Harden that Chris Paul can't help him. Chris Paul doesn't stand the court enough to help James Harden. Therefore, James Harden has to be the offensive overload. He's got to have the ball in his hands. See, with Paul George, if Paul George does have an off night, Westbrook's going to help him. Not really scoring wise. Westbrook's having a terrible scoring year. But Westbrook is getting, what's his last trend, last 10 games? Like 15 assists, 16 assists, 12 assists. It's not all going to Paul George.
Yeah.
You see him giving it to Terrence Ferguson. You see it going to Steven Adams. Westbrook's there dishing the ball around. He's there making that team better. And honestly, OKC does have a chance to take the number 1 seed from Golden State. They're only 4 games back,
Yeah.
but I'm still going to hold it at Golden State. But I think within the top 3 in the West, it'll be probably a game such a separation from each one.
Yeah, and one thing that you also do have to look at is when OKC had Kevin Durant, had Russell Westbrook, had James Harden, they were one of the top teams.
Not even when they had
Yeah.
Harden. Even the year where Golden State went 73-9, they were
Yeah.
up 3-1 in the series. That was when it was really just Westbrook
And KD. You go and add Paul George, who I think he's not KD. I'm going to say that
He's
right
not
here,
KD,
right
but
now.
on the defensive side of the
he's
ball, I think I'd
playing-
rather have Paul George.
Yeah, he's playing at a level
I
that
don't know about that.
I haven't seen since before he injured his leg playing
Right.
for the Olympics.
Even above that,
I would
Correct.
agree. That, you know, Paul George's performance right now is spectacular.
Yeah.
But how about this 3rd seed here
in the East,
you know,
we
in
all
the
got
East?
OKC and Nuggets at the 2-3 in the West.
That's how you had them too strong?
Yeah, I have OKC at the 2, Nuggets at 3. So
Okay,
what about
yeah,
the
there's
third
Let's
seed?
flip to the East. We got the top 2 in the East. We got either Milwaukee and Toronto at the top 2. Now, at the 3 and the 4, right now, the Pacers are number 3, and you got Boston number 4. What do you see going on there? Do you think Pacers hold on to 3, or do you think they fall down with the loss of Victor Oladipo?
I can see them falling down. I don't think they'll finish in the top 3. I think they'll finish 5-ish.
So who you got in the 3-4?
I have in the 3. I'm gonna stick with Philly. With the addition of Tobias Harris, you have Jimmy Butler, you have
Embiid, you got Ben Simmons, you got Redick.
Well, I
think
mean,
you
with
have
the
that
addition of
there.
Embiid, I mean, to me personally, I'm gonna have to go with putting Denver in the 3 seed. I mean,
Boston.
putting Boston in the 3 seed in the East, and the reason I say that is because I don't know about Joel Embiid. I mean, he's a great player when he's on the court, but the question is, can he stay healthy? I mean, his injuries come into play.
You've seen that he's been able to stay healthy this year and last year.
Most
He
definitely.
hasn't really had a big injury in a few years since his first
Well,
year.
I would
That's a
have
big
to
injury,
put-
but I'm talking about his times,
Yeah.
even missing games. 2 or 3 games.
But there's
I mean,
also
that still
another
comes
reason-
down to play.
Yeah, but you look at it this way. When it
And then
comes
as far
time
as-
for the lights to shine brighter, Embiid has that mental
As far
thing
as
to
Boston,
let him
as
go
far as
and take over.
in my opinion, as far as Boston is more, they're more deep. They have a better,
Yeah,
better
definitely.
roster.
Yeah.
I see
They're
where
a
both
better
of you are
roster.
coming
But
from.
who are you gonna put on Embiid if you're Boston? Horford? Old man Horford?
Who are you gonna put on? But I mean,
Horford's
we're not
having a
gonna
great
pretend that
season
Horford
still.
is
Yeah,
a
I
good
know he's
defensive
having a
player,
great
though.
season.
But then you could
I would have to put-
also flip it. Who are you going to have guard Kyrie on the other end?
I mean, I could see it being.
It's going to be close, but I
Yeah.
do have Philly at number 3.
I
What do you
got-
got, Sean?
You got
I
Philly
got
at 3?
Boston at 3 and Philly at 4, and for one simple reason, Boston, they've been together all season,
I agree.
building chemistry. They've been playing together.
Yeah,
They're actually
I'm
ahead
with you
of
on
Philly
that.
right now. In
I
the
agree.
standings. So I gotta think Philadelphia, a great team, yes, maybe even more talented than Boston. But they still have to gain chemistry with Tobias Harris and see exactly where he fits in. So that's why I got Philly at 4,
I
Boston
feel
at
you.
3.
I feel you on that. But one thing that you do also have to look at is how invested is Kyrie. Yeah, he came out and played in the All-Star game a few days ago, but you look at it, he hasn't been healthy for the last few weeks. So how much stress is that going to put on his teammates?
Kyrie is very invested. I mean, Kyrie wants to win.
Well, let's talk
it's
about the rumors.
well
Then.
known.
What about the rumors? And have
Yeah.
you heard any rumors in Philly about anybody potentially wanting out?
Not really. I mean, the only one you could see possibly wanting out.
But have you heard it? That's the question.
I haven't heard anything, but
See, in Boston, I've heard Kyrie wanted
wants
out.
out.
I've also heard plenty of things when the AD trade was going on. I've heard they wanted to trade Tatum. How do you
Yeah.
think that makes Jason Tatum feel, knowing that without Kyrie last year, Jason Tatum was the focal point of that
Yeah.
offense, and he led them to the Eastern Conference Finals.
Well, I mean, as far as it's the NBA, I mean, there's going to be rumors, and it's a business. I mean, at the end of the day, you can't. I feel like once you reach that level, you can't allow that shit to get to you. I mean, it's the NBA. There's going to be rumors, on any team, whether he's on
I've
Boston
actually
or
have
whether he's
heard
somewhere
rumors.
else.
I've heard rumors they were going to trade Joel Embiid for Anthony Davis. I've heard that.
When did you hear that?
Yeah, that is actually was a rumor. They were talking about should they do that? Would that benefit? They said it wouldn't benefit Philadelphia.
Who's
but
your sources?
This is on ESPN was debating this the other day. This is actually a debate.
I'm gonna have to
Also,
watch that.
Jimmy Butler just got in Philly. You don't know what he's
Jimmy
thinking.
Butler's been in
Jimmy
Philly for a
Butler is
couple-
very
He's
unpredictable.
been in Philly the last couple months. Jimmy Butler is a winner. Jimmy Butler is a contender. I think that's why he didn't really fit in Minnesota. To me, Minnesota was too young to have that mentality.
Exactly.
Carl-
Jimmy Butler
they're
is
great-
definitely a
they're-
winner.
they're
I
great.
agree, but
There's
we're going to have
great
to
players
agree
in
to
Minnesota,
disagree.
but Carl Anthony Towns, he wasn't in that. I want it.
We
Jimmy
have-
Butler, right now, how long?
See,
has
right
Jimmy
now
Butler been in the
at
league?
this point,
I want to say 09 was when he
So
was
Jimmy
drafted.
Butler's been in for about a decade. Jimmy
Yeah.
Butler right now, he knows he's probably either in his prime or at the end of his prime.
Yes.
And Jimmy Butler wants to win, and that's what he's bringing to Philly with a young Ben Simmons, a young raw Embiid. That's what he's bringing, a young Tobias.
I definitely agree with you. That he wants to win,
Yeah.
but I feel like every team that's in that race
Not necessarily every
wants
team.
to win. I feel like Boston again is they have more depth. They're more well rounded. They have a better bench than
They have
than,
Rozier,
They
Jaylen
have
Brown.
Rozier. They have Jaylen Brown. They have Gordon Hayward. I mean, they have
They have way more
they have,
depth.
they have Roy
more depth.
Williams.
They have more depth, but like you said in the other conference with OKC versus Denver, this is where you're contradicting yourself. I will take the star power over the depth.
Yeah.
Just
But-
as you took OKC
So
over
Kyrie
Denver.
is better than any single 76er, so he's the best player.
So
there,
Kyrie's
you
better
can't
than
say they have
Embiid.
star- Yeah.
Okay,
And then,
that's
then
fine.
you
Boston
go. Then
has
you could
star
go
power.
Tatum. Then you could go Tatum. You could go hand in hand. Tatum and Simmons are right there.
Yeah,
Oh,
Simmons
Oh,
is
I would
like-
definitely take Tatum over
Where's
Simmons.
Tatum?
Tatum can't shoot. I mean, Simmons can't
Where's
shoot.
Tatum been all year?
Simmons can't shoot.
Where's Tatum been all year? What's
Simmons
Tatum?
can't
What's
shoot.
Tatum doing this year?
I'm gonna go Simmons.
And
well.
Jalen Brown.
I'll
Jalen
go
Brown has
Simmons.
completely fell off
I
the
would
wagon.
take Tatum.
I would take Jimmy Butler over the next 3 best Boston players,
Yeah.
Oh, definitely.
and then I give me Tobias over Al Horford.
Okay, but then what about their bench? So what? Let's name the bench. Let's go
You
on
can
the
name
bench.
the bench.
Every
You can keep
player
the bench.
on the bench. Okay, so
You can
what?
keep the depth.
You can keep
But
that.
Yeah, but Boston's bench is so good that it could start on other teams. Jalen Brown.
Yeah,
he's
Jalen
a starter.
Brown,
Terry
Gordon
Rozier-
Hayward.
Gordon Hayward's a starter.
I mean, what are you
anywhere
talking
else.
about?
No doubt.
Yeah.
No doubt. But here's the one thing that I think me and Dan are getting at here. You look at it, and everybody who is on the 76ers right now, they are at a point where, yeah, they're young, and they want it.
But we're gonna
And
have.
want to bring it back to Philly, to a level that you haven't seen since AI was in Philly.
We're gonna have to, make a special, bet here for the first time around news around the league. He seems to think that Milwaukee has, that
Boston?
Yeah, no, what the hell?
Phillies, man.
Philly.
Philly.
Yeah, I couldn't think of the name of the team. I don't know. I was tripping. He seems to think that Philly's gonna come out on top. I think that Boston's gonna come out on top. So how about we put on a show for the fans here, and if Boston comes out on top, crack the egg on your head. If Milwaukee comes out on top, if Philly comes out on top, I'll crack an egg on my head.
That is a fine deal. I'll take that all day.
All right.
But anyway, just one last question before we can switch back to the West. How many number ones are in Boston that you think if you put them on another team, they're the number one player on that team? To me, it's just one. It's just Kyrie.
Jason Tatum
On a bad
I
team,
can see-
I could see Tatum as a number one. But if you put Tatum
and Gordon Hayward. I
Definitely not
still
Gordon
think
Hayward.
Gordon Hayward.
Gordon Hayward after
before
the
the injury.
injury,
Before the injury.
Pre-injury, yes.
Yes.
Post-injury, no. Gordon Hayward to me is a number 2 and number 3. Same thing with Tatum. Now, if you put Gordon Hayward or if you put Tatum on like a Chicago Bulls, a Cleveland Cavaliers, then yes, they would thrive as a
But
number one. But when you put him on another playoff team, like if I put Jason Tatum on Brooklyn, to me,
Brooklyn, he would be definitely
D'Angelo
Brooklyn's best
Russell.
player.
D'Angelo Russell.
You're telling me
is
that D'Angelo
still-
Russell's better than Jason Tatum?
Yes, this year, right now.
So in a draft,
yes.
you would take D'Angelo Russell over Jason Tatum.
I would take the All-Star over.
Oh
Jason
my
Tatum.
God! Hey, listen, news around the league. You please comment with your
What's Tatum's
thoughts.
numbers?
Your
Can you
thoughts
tell me-
below.
Can you tell
Comment
me
your
Tatum's
thoughts
numbers?
below on this.
Kyrie
on this.
Irving is the top player on 29 out of 30 teams.
Other than Kyrie.
All right, look,
other
look,
than
we're
Kyrie.
I said other than Kyrie.
we're going
Okay,
too
hold
long.
on,
We're
B.
going too
Okay,
long.
okay,
We're going too
hey,
long.
back to
I'm
Philly.
listening
How
to
many
Philly.
number one players Philly got?
Probably
Ben
zero.
Simmons. If you went mostly on the other place, he's number one.
Not really.
Joel Embiid,
Where? What
if
good
he
team?
goes-
What good team would either of them be a number one?
Charlotte.
Charlotte. Kemba Walker.
Brooklyn, I would take Ben Simmons over Kemba
I
Walker.
would not.
I love
How
Kemba.
about-
I
how
love
about-
Kemba.
how
Give me
about
Ben
this?
Simmons.
Listen,
We
ladies.
are going a little bit too
How
long.
about the 3
on
and
this
4
part.
in the West? Yeah, you know.
Well,
what I mean.
and number
4 and
5.
4 and 5.
4 and 5. To me, I got Houston at number 4, and then I got Portland at number 5. This is where I think it's going to get tricky with a lot of us in the 4-5 situation. Most of you might even have Utah in the 4-5. Josh, what do you have?
I have Houston at the 4. Utah, I think, has a little bit more firepower than Portland. Yeah, Portland has Damian Lillard, but Rudy Gobert has been playing at a high level. Should have been an All-Star this year. I think they edge it out a little bit over Portland.
Sammy?
4 Houston, 5 Portland. 5, I give it to
Well,
Portland.
Mine's a little different than your guys. Of course, I'm going forward with Houston. James Harden, the top offensive player in the league, surrounded by key players. Chris Paul, Clint Capella when he comes back. Nene is a great backup center. But number 5, I'm going a little different than Portland. Just for the simple fact, it's actually a risky pick, but I'm going to just pick Spurs. I'm going to go with Greg Popovich and them boys
I like it.
going out to the
Not-
5 seed.
It's not bad.
Not that
I
bad.
just
not a bad
thought
pick.
about maybe
It's a
Greg
little bit of a
might-
reach. It's a
might-
little bit of a
if he
reach,
doesn't,
but-
if he sits players at the end, they might go down.
I don't
But
think
dude,
Greg Pop's
I don't
gonna sit
think
people.
Greg Pop can do that with this
Yeah, I
team.
don't know.
I mean, you have DeMar, you have LA, but who's after that? What do you have really after that you can put out on a daily basis?
I agree.
So I guess we all got Houston at number 4. This is the first time we actually all agree on something besides
Yeah.
Golden State. So we all agree Houston is number
Yeah.
4. Now, to me, the only reason why I took Portland over Utah, as you said, Utah does, to me, I think, is a better team. I think Utah will make a better playoff run than Portland. To me, Portland, once they get in the playoffs, besides that one series where Damian Lillard hit the crazy shot
Yeah.
against the Rockets to end it in 6, Other than that, Portland really hasn't shown me anything in the playoffs. Once they get there last year, they're the number 3 seed. You're like, okay, Portland's going to make a great run. They might even compete with Houston in the next round. Next thing you know, they're getting swept by New Orleans. Now, credit New Orleans was a good team with AD, but that just can't happen to me.
Correct.
That's why I don't necessarily trust Portland in the postseason, so I would agree with you that Utah is better, but for the regular season purposes, I will take Portland at that 4 seed.
I could see that. You mean 5?
5 seed, I'm sorry, yes.
I could see that happening, but it's just the thing of, okay, it's Damian Lillard, CJ McCollum.
Those are the guys.
Yeah, those are the top guys. But I mean, who else?
Nurkic.
Yeah.
I mean, Alfred
And then
Alfred
they just
Camino.
they
got
added
guys.
Markieff Morris.
They
That's a
got
solid
guys
pickup
that
for them.
know their
that
roles.
was OKC who added them.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah.
See, no, the Thunder. I mean, the Portland just picked up somebody. Who did Portland? Portland just picked up Enes Kanter. That's who they picked up. Portland just picked up. Portland just picked up Enes Kanter.
Out a little bit.
Well, what do you guys think about this is actually real interesting because the East is a toss-up with every team pretty much doing bad. Who do you guys got at the 5 seed in the East?
5, 6. I had Pacers falling at 5. Now, I don't think the Pacers will make any type of run in the playoffs without Victor Oladipo. I think we can all agree on that.
Yeah.
But right now, you talk about they're about ahead of the 6th seed, which is currently the Nets. They're about 7.5 games above them. So I don't really see Indiana falling all the way down to 6. Now, I do see them falling down to 5 and probably most likely getting swept against whoever that 4 seed does happen to be.
Yeah.
And for the 6th seed, I have the Detroit Pistons falling to the 6th seed. I'll get into that a little bit more after I hear your guys' predictions. Sean, who do you right now have as the 5, 6?
Well, the 5, I got the Pacers, and I really don't like the Pacers roster right now without Oladipo, but they're so far ahead of everyone else, I have to keep them in the playoffs. They could compete when playoff time comes, but I don't see them winning the series at all. I see them maybe winning 1 or 2 games. And at the 6th seed, I got the Nets. The Nets just got Karis LeVert back. The Nets have one of the most well-rounded rosters in the East. A lot of young good players out there, so that's my 5, 6. What about you, Sammy?
My 5, 6 would definitely have to be. I'll have to agree with you guys on the 5. I had the same 5.
Pacers.
It's Indiana. I don't think that the addition of I don't think them losing Oladipo is gonna hurt them that much. I do feel that it hurts them, but not enough to where it drops them down to the 6th seed. And then the 6th seed I feel is gonna be Brooklyn. I feel like they're a better team than the Pistons. I feel like the Pistons will end up being the 7th seed. But I feel like Brooklyn is a little bit more well-rounded and they're a little more polished up than Detroit.
Okay, I think we all agree on the 5 seed. I have the Pacers there. They're just so far ahead, and then you look at some of the other games that they've had this season, like the Laker game where they blew out the Lakers without Oladipo. And then you go, and I also have the Nets. You add Karis LeVert back to that team with D'Angelo Russell, with Joe Harris. I just feel that the Nets, with what they have going and bringing back LeVert, they were able to stay hot without LeVert. So you bring him back, he gets back to close to what he was before he got injured. I think they can make a dangerous push.
Those are fair points. Now, the only reason I did have the Pistons in is because in their last 5, they are 4-1. If you look at the remaining games for Brooklyn,
But who did they play in those 5 games? If you don't mind me asking.
Oh, in the 5 games they played. Where did I?
Philadelphia.
They had the
They played Denver, which they beat by 26.
Yeah.
They had New York, which they beat by 13. They had New York again, also beat by 17. New York's not nothing special. Now, I do like Washington. Washington's a bad team, but that was a good win to also win by 9. And then they lost to Boston by 8.
But in my personal perspective, after looking down here at this, the really only credible team to me that they received a win off of is Denver. I mean that's the only credible team.
I mean that is
as far as Washington, they're okay. They're a borderline team, but I don't feel like they're anything special.
But back into the schedule that remains, to me, Brooklyn has a much harder schedule than what the Pistons have coming up.
I can see that. My thing, though, is with what the Nets have in place, the young team, Spencer Dinwiddie right now hurt, but you could see him coming back before the playoffs.
He comes back in 2-3 weeks, but that's another big thing. Your third best player, maybe he's behind Jared Allen, but I take Dinwiddie over Jared Allen. But Jared Allen defensively is just a monster.
Adding Jared Allen to what I said earlier, you have LeVert, just came back from injury. You have D'Angelo Russell, and then Joe Harris.
But then you look at what Brooklyn plays. They got to play Portland twice. To me, that maybe you split.
Yeah, I can see a split.
Milwaukee, 2 more times. You're probably getting swept. You got the Pacers once, now vice versa. I think they'll beat the Pacers now, but the Pistons play the Pacers 3 times, in which I think they can beat the Pacers all 3 games.
Here's
I
the
don't see the Pistons
here's
beating
the
the
interesting thing.
Indiana all
I
3
don't
games.
I don't think they can beat them all 3. I think they do take one.
I think
Yeah,
they take 2. I think they take 2.
I'm pretty sure one of those games that is at LCA, and I think they win that one. And
So you think the Pacers take the 1 in Indiana and Detroit takes the 2 in Detroit?
No, I think they take 1 in Detroit.
You think the Pacers are going to take 2 without Oladipo?
Yes, I do.
Or is
I
This
can
is
see
a
that
very
happening.
inconsistent team out there too.
But anyway, back
Yeah.
to the Nets. They also got to play the Raptors. They got to play the Thunder, the Philly. They got Utah. They got the Spurs. They got Boston. I look over here at Detroit and I say, well, I mean, they do play the Raptors twice. They got the Blazers twice. I think they'll split. And they got the Nuggets, but like we just said, they just blew out the Nuggets by 26, so they can clearly
But
go out and
I definitely
dominate
think
the
that. But
Nuggets.
the Pistons here, the thing with the Pistons is they're capable of beating teams by 20 and then coming out and losing by 30. I mean,
Yep.
they're very unpredictable. That's
No,
the
you
problem
said
with the
that
Pistons.
they
They're
lost-
inconsistent.
They lost to the Celtics.
By 8, yes.
Yes. That was a game that they should have won.
Yes.
The Celtics were without Kyrie. The Pistons, if they wanted to be actual contenders, that's a game you go out.
Yeah, you
put
have to.
your foot on their throat. They were also missing Bynes and Terry Rozier. That's a game you have to go and put your foot on their throat from start to finish to beat them if you want to be an actual contender.
And then the last thing is the last out of the 10 last games for Brooklyn, 8 of those teams, 8 out of the 10 are playoff teams. Now, to me, like right now, this is a big part. If Brooklyn did want to make the playoffs, their starting schedule, I think they play like Atlanta. They play people like Dallas, New York. If they can win those games, they got about 10 easy games left. If they can win those 10, one of them happen to be Detroit. I think that's going to be the pivot point when Brooklyn
Yeah.
and Detroit play.
I
I
think-
think the winner of that makes the playoffs. And to me, I'm giving the edge over Detroit because to me, Brooklyn doesn't have what it takes to really stop Drummond and Blake Griffin. And Karis LeVert just coming back, you talk about he's only getting 10 points per game, where before he was getting, I think, around 16. Right now he's shooting 36%,
Yeah.
and before he was shooting 46. He's not the same. Spencer Dinwiddie is no longer there. So really all they got right now, scoring-wise, is D'Angelo Russell.
No, I feel you on that. It's just, for me, I feel that Karis LeVert does get back up to where he was. People counted him out after that injury earlier in the season.
You got to look at one big flaw Detroit has compared to Brooklyn. Why they'll win. Point guards match up pretty well. Centers match up well with Allen and Drummond.
Point guards do not match up well. I'll take D'Angelo
I'll
Russell
take
over
Russell.
Reggie
Yeah,
Jackson.
exactly.
Oh, you said they matched up well.
But
But
we're
you're
getting
arguing
a
for-
little carried
Wait,
away with the
But the wing
leftist-
position, the Pistons are getting killed by Brooklyn. This is why Brooklyn will get the 6th seed. They have Karis LeVert, DeMar Carroll. They have Joe Harris. They have all these wings. The Pistons cannot match up with that. The Pistons pretty much are
They don't have enough
lacking.
depth.
They don't
Yeah.
have enough depth.
Pistons will get in.
Let's jump back over to the West. I think we were at the
6-7.
6-7 seed over there.
We can just finish out the West, you guys want. Let's take
Yeah,
the six. Let's take the
You want to
6,
pick
7.
like a 9th and 10th, maybe.
6 down. No,
Let's
just
go.
take the 6 through
Let's
the
go
eight.
6 through the 8.
Let's go 6 through 8. Sean, you
Sean,
can
you can
start
start.
off. Let's all go with our 6s. Who do you have at number 6?
By 6 and 8 in the West. At 6, I got the Trailblazers for the same reasons you guys said. I believe the Trailblazers are a really good team. They're gonna compete in the West all year. I just have them falling at the 6 for whatever reason. Them and the Spurs could go 5, 6. And then at the 7, I got the Kings. The Kings are a young, scrappy team with Fox, Bagley, all types of young players that are just gonna fight. And Fox is emerging as one of the best point guards in the whole league right now. And he should have probably got drafted way before he did. And his jump shot's even looking way better than they initially thought. What about you, Dan?
Well, who did you have at the 8 seed? I got to hear your 8
Oh,
seed.
the
real
8 seed,
quick.
I got the Lakers squeaking in just for the simple fact they got LeBron James, the greatest,
So
one of the greatest
So-
players to ever play the game.
So you have the Kings making it in over the Jazz.
you don't have the Utah Jazz making the playoffs.
I guess I don't have the Jazz. Well, I don't really like the Jazz. I don't know
Why
why.
do you not like the
I like
Jazz?
Gobert, but I just don't like the Jazz. I don't really.
Well,
So
let's
I
talk about
would
it.
have to disagree. See, this is I would have to state mine. I know you kind of skipped you in the
Yeah, you can
rotation
go,
here,
it's fine.
but the 6th, I would have to roll with. Let me see who were the teams again. The 6th seed, I think, is definitely going to be Utah.
So you got Utah at the 6.
I got
you
Utah at the
squeezing in.
6.
So us three all believe that Utah is definitely a playoff
Yes.
team. Sean, I don't know really
No,
why
where
you
your head
don't
is
like-
at.
Well,
Yeah.
number one,
They got Donovan Mitchell. You talk
Donovan
about
Mitchell,
they-
young, good player.
who showed last year he can definitely
He
carry a
can.
team.
He's good.
And he
And
ended
him
up,
and Gobert,
he ended up
but outside of
upsetting,
that-
he upsetting OKC. Donovan Mitchell has proven that he is
Okay.
a raw superstar, not a superstar, but at least a star talent in the league. And it helps having a guy in the paint when I can let you drive by me.
I
but have
actually
faith that it's
have
gonna work.
have the Spurs at the 6th seed, and I have the Jazz at the 7th.
So you
seed.
flipped it. I have the Spurs at the 6. I also have the Jazz at number 7.
Well, I don't have the Jazz making. I'm taking LeBron James over anyone. Any
And then
day
at
of
the
week.
8th seed, I have LA coming in.
But I also have LA take him.
Yeah,
That's
and you guys just don't have the Kings in.
Well, I think he does.
I do.
Josh.
I have the Kings in. I have them in at number 7. I have the Lakers at 8.
And you don't have the
Who
Spurs
do you have not
making
making
it?
it?
I don't have the Clippers making it.
Well, none
None
of
of
us
us have the
have
Clippers
You don't have the
making it.
Spurs making it.
Correct.
You don't have the
And
same.
that's crazy to me. I trust the Spurs way more than I would trust the Jazz.
I mean, you look at it this way.
Compared
You're both crazy. for
DeMar
taking the Kings.
DeRozan,
Yeah, for taking the Kings. Yeah, I
And
don't know about-
Marcus
you guys are
Aldridge.
too high at the Kings.
compared to Donovan Mitchell, a young player who's really unproven, and then Rudy Gobert, a top-tier center, which is the worst position to have in the entire
But I mean,
league.
you're forgetting about their defense. They're one of the best defensive teams.
They
in
are
the
the
since
league.
Gordon
best.
Hayward
They are the
left,
best
I-
defensive team. They also have Joe Ingles to me, who can just do everything
They're
he
the
wants
best.
to. Joe Ingles is a guy that he's not.
Joe
flashy.
Ingles is a guy that
he's
every
not gonna
player
do.
wants on
He's
his
a
team.
30-year-old, 10-point player per game.
He's
Wow.
gonna get probably.
He's gonna get 15.
15,
He's gonna go out there and get 5
rebounds, he's
rebounds,
gonna
and
get
he's gonna go out there and
assists.
get 5, 6 assists.
He'll probably
You
get
guys
you
know
one
what
if
he's
he's
doing.
defensive presence is
That's
what's
just
gonna
because he
matter.
gets minutes. 2-3 years ago, Ingles wasn't doing anything.
'Cause he had
was getting
Gordon
like 2
Hayward
points
there.
per
Yeah.
game.
His defensive presence is what's gonna, his defense
So
is
they're
what's
the best
underrated. He's a
defensive
lockdown
team. They're the
defender.
best defensive team in the offensive league.
So
I'm gonna take the
if with-
Kings'
with
offense
Crowder.
over them any day. of
But
the
what
week.
about the Kings defense? Where's the Kings defense at?
I believe the Kings have defense.
Who's their lockdown defense?
Willie Cauley-Stein is a
You taking
Willie
Willie
Cauley-Stein
Cauley-Stein
is
over Rudy
guarding-
Gobert?
no, but I would take Fox over their point guard. I'm gonna take
You
Bagley.
take Fox over Rubio?
Yes, by far.
would
I would
take
take Fox
Fox
over
over
Rubio.
Fox
I'll
over
take Fox
Rubio.
over Rubio too.
And point guard is the most
Okay,
important.
but
position in
who's the
league
number
right now.
one player in Sacramento? Fox?
Fox.
Okay, who's the number one in Utah? Mitchell?
Mitchell.
I like
Mitchell
Fox
is better
a
than
little
I
Fox.
think
more.
we're all taking Mitchell. I
Mitchell
do
is
like Fox.
definitely
I
better.
do like
I do like
Fox.
Fox.
Fox is younger.
But I'm taking Mitchell.
I'm
Now, the
taking
number
Mitchell.
2, I don't even know who the number 2 is
Mitchell's
in Sacramento.
the
Is it Buddy Hield? Is
Would
Buddy
be
It
Willie
would be about-
Cauley-Stein.
I would
Willie
think it would
Cauley-Stein?
be Willie Cauley-Stein or
And then you got
Buddy
Buddy
Hield.
Hill and Bagley. That's
So,
4 top.
Okay, look, if I'm thinking
Good
between
players right there.
Willie Cauley-Stein and Buddy Hield, and then I'm looking at Joe Ingles and Rudy Gobert, I'm taking Ingles and
I
Gobert.
like Hill
all
more
day.
than Ingles.
I'll take Buddy over Ingles, but I'll take
I think the
Gobert.
gap between Gobert and Willie Cauley-Stein.
I don't think it's as big as you would think.
Is
I don't
It is
think
definitely.
I think
bigger
Willie
than that.
Cauley-Stein
I think
is
that
a
you're. I think that you're
center that's
definitely
very
underrating
underrated.
Rudy Gobert. I
No,
mean, no.
he's the top center
No.
in the league.
Don't get me wrong. Willie Cauley-Stein is definitely underrated. I agree with
He
you
is.
100%.
But
But
he doesn't
Rudy
compare to
Gobert,
Rudy Gobert.
he is no Rudy Gobert. Rudy Gobert is a top
But he can match
3
up with
center
him.
in the NBA. in
How
my
many
opinion.
centers would you really match up with Gobert though? Willie Cauley-Stein.
What do you
is-
mean? Gobert can defend any center in the league.
I know,
What are you
but
talking
Willie
about? He can shut
Cauley-Stein
him
is
down.
a top 10 center that would match up with him.
Top 10 center.
I would think so.
No.
No,
Nate
no.
Embiid, Drummond, Gobert.
Davis,
Jokic,
Boogie.
Davis.
Boogie, I-
Boogie,
Vucevic.
no.
Vu,
No.
Drummond.
I'm taking Nurkic.
Drummond.
I think I'm taking Nurkic.
No,
You're not gonna
I
take
wouldn't
Drummond?
take any of them. Drummond, maybe. Drummond has no kill.
You just
I
said
like
Carl Anthony Towns.
Towns.
I think I take
Nurkic.
Al
I'll
Horford.
take
I'm
Nurkic.
not taking Nurkic.
I'll
I
take
think I take Nurkic.
DeAndre Jordan, maybe.
Al Horford.
No.
All right. Let's wrap this up.
let's
wrap
wrap
this
it up.
up.
Let's go to the East. Let's go to our last two. Josh, you start us off with your 7 and your 8, the last two squeakers. And then if you don't mind, maybe mention a 9th who is probably only going to be about a half game out.
Okay, at 7, I have Charlotte making it. I just feel that they really didn't give anything up. They have stuck around that 7 seed all year. I think they helped.
So you feel like the chemistry for
Yeah,
Charlotte
I think
is
the
just
chemistry
there.
for Charlotte is there. Coming off of the hosting the All-Star game, I think that revitalizes them a little bit. At 8, I have Miami making it over the Pistons. I think D-Wade will make a little bit of noise down the stretch. And at 9, missing by about half game, maybe a game, I have the Pistons.
Sam, who do you have at your 7, 8, and potentially the 9?
7, I had Detroit making it in there, right underneath Brooklyn. At 8, I'm gonna have to roll with no, I forgot about Charlotte.
You had Detroit at 8. You had Charlotte at 7.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna take Charlotte. Yeah,
So
I'm
then
gonna
you
take
get-
Charlotte at 7 and Detroit at
You
8.
got D-Wade missing playoffs in his final year.
And I don't think D-Wade makes the playoffs.
I think in D-Wade's final year, I think the Miami Heat do group together a little bit, and I think they do slide in at an 8 seed. It might not be a long playoff run,
Yeah.
but I think they get in there for D-Wade's last, his last run. And then at number 7, I did have the Nets, and so I looked at over their schedule and stuff. So I slid in the Hornets at number 7, and then I had the
So you
Nets.
have the Nets.
You have the
not making
Nets
playoffs?
missing the
I have
playoffs.
the Nets going to number 9, and then
That's
I did.
worse than
I did have
Spurs.
Orlando maybe squeaking in because Orlando has been hot the
Oh,
last
The
5.
Nets over Miami.
You do realize the Nets are 30-29 right now compared to Miami's 26-30, and they're just getting better. They just
Yeah,
got
Miami. No,
Chris
yeah, no, I don't see
That's
that.
a
happening.
crazy
That's a
thing
bit of a
right now.
stretch.
It's crazy, but I got Brooklyn falling out with that tough schedule coming up. I don't really trust him. And Karis LeVert, he's going to be the same player, but just not right away. And they still don't have Dinwiddie. To me, I think their key players that they needed, their key pieces, just aren't there right now. And I think it's going to hurt them.
Well, at number 7, I gotta go with the Detroit Pistons. They just added some nice players and got rid of pretty much nothing. Stanley Johnson wasn't
Well,
helping.
Reggie
the
Bullock
team.
was a
Well, Reggie Bullock
was a huge hit
yeah.
to Detroit.
Reggie Bullock was
I believe
a huge
last year
hit
he
with-
led the league.
Stanley,
But to get Wayne
as far as
Ellington-
Stanley Johnson goes, I feel like
Yeah,
that's
I
not as
agree
big
with
of a
that.
hit. I
That's
feel
not
like
big as a hit, but
his
I love
defensive-
Stanley.
Stanley's defensive impact
Stanley
was not
was
as good. His
defensive
defensive
lockdown.
I
impact
agree.
was not as strong as his lack of offensive production.
But to
He
get
wasn't a strong enough defender to lack as much offensive production as he does. He doesn't produce enough on
He was
offense.
too inconsistent. But
It's
Wayne
the problem. He doesn't
Ellington,
produce on
to get
offense.
Wayne Ellington out of the buyout market and not even trade for him, that's a great
That's
piece
a great
to
addition.
replace
That
Bullock.
is a good
That is
piece.
true, but I think I'd
And
rather
then
have Bullock.
I
than
would
I'd
rather
have
Don
Ellington.
Maker is going to be a big improvement from Zaza.
Thon Maker,
I
I
like the way he's been
personally
playing.
like Thon Maker.
And he's young, and Milwaukee
He's a
didn't give him
shot
the best
blocker.
chance.
He can stretch the floor. In my opinion, Thon Maker is
Yeah, and
the
then you
perfect,
also got-
bench big.
Then you also got probably the best big man duo in the East.
I think
with Griffin
they
and
might be the
Drummond.
best big man duo besides maybe Golden State with Boogie and Draymond.
Let me wrap us up by saying this. I get where you guys are coming from with having the Pistons in there. They did make some additions. I could see actually Zaza and Thon Maker playing side by side.
Now
coming
where
off
do you
the bench.
now where does that put John Lure?
John Wall really hasn't done much for
He
them
can
this
stretch
year.
once in a while.
Yeah.
But real quick, who did you have at the eight spot? We
Eighth
kinda
spot,
cut you
I
off
got I gotta go with Kemba Walker, one of the top players in the East. One of the top players,
So
honestly. in
you
the whole
also
NBA.
as well had D Wade missing in.
Well, I don't even get. I like the Magic even more than I like the Heat.
I did like the Magic have
Correct.
won
I like
a
the Magic.
5-game win
See,
streak.
I agree.
Yeah.
As
The
much
Magic have been
as I
scrapping.
like D Wade and you know this NBA season has
His
been
story.
you know kind of surrounded around D Wade and his going out, his tribute every game has been talked about, when his exchanging the jerseys with these different players and his final hurrah. I just don't feel like they have what it takes as a team to make it into the playoffs.
Right now, Miami and the Pistons are tied with games. I'm pretty sure that Miami still plays Detroit one more time. And that game will decide it. I just feel that D. Wade and the team around him will push them that extra little step to make that happen. Have D. Wade make it to the playoffs this final season. Yeah, it would hurt for the fans of the Pistons, but I also feel like the pace that Reggie Jackson is playing at right now, he cannot keep that up.
Oh,
Going
okay.
down.
Oh, you said he can't keep it up. I was gonna say Reggie Jackson's been on a tear
He's gonna.
lately.
Reggie Jackson's gonna need to go here soon.
Yeah, Reggie Jackson, I don't think is going to keep this pace up. So I can see that being the reason the Pistons just missed
Now
the
I do,
playoffs.
and only for a simple fact we'll end here shortly, is Dwayne Casey said that he thinks that Reggie Jackson finally gets the system. It just took Reggie Jackson a little bit longer than it did Blake Griffin, Andre Drummond, and all these other guys. But Reggie Jackson, he said he finally gets it. He's at 90 in his last 5 since Detroit has 4-1 these last 5. He's 93% free throw percentage, 17 points per game, about 5 assists, and he's shooting about 50% field goal and 56% from downtown. Now I don't think he'll keep that up, but it helps when you got Blake Griffin getting 27 a game and you got Andre Drummond getting 25 and 16.
Yeah.
So it helps Reggie Jackson because before Blake Griffin was here, Andre Drummond was not no number one. It was Reggie Jackson. I think that put a lot of pressure on him, but I think now with Blake Griffin as the number one, I do think Reggie fell almost to number 3, and I think Drummond kind of overshadows that.
No, I
and I think it takes the pressure off of Reggie, and I think Reggie stays on the tear, and this is why I had Detroit at the number 6.
Quick question before we wrap up. This is going to be a big part of who gets in between Miami and Detroit. Which coach do you trust more, Eric Spoelstra?
Oh,
or
I'm taking Dwayne Casey. I'm taking Coach of the Year,
Dwayne
Dwayne
Two
Casey.
great coaches.
I'm taking
Dwayne
Dwayne
Casey.
Casey,
I
Coach
would
of the
also
Year.
take Dwayne Casey.
Dwayne
That's one
Casey.
reason I have the Pistons making it. Even though Eric Spoelstra
That's
is
why
the
that
champion
is
coach.
another reason
Yeah.
why I have the Pistons making it as well.
No,
at the 8th seed.
I agree with you guys. I would take Dwayne Casey, but I also think that having D. Wade still there for Eric Spoelstra helps him a little bit more, gives him that leaning block. after this season, I could see Miami taking a huge hit, falling to the bottom of the NBA barrel. I just feel that the storyline surrounding D Wade, the players down there all respect him. Even refs respect him, so that's also going to play a little bit of it into it. So I feel that you can have Dwayne Casey be the better coach, but D Wade being the bigger name and the bigger player in the NBA to get some calls that maybe Blake Griffin won't get.
I feel like
maybe
Blake Griffin
Reggie won't
would
get.
probably get them calls. Blake Griffin's been in the league since 2010, and he's also all-star caliber. I believe the refs respect him. Maybe
Yeah.
not so much the
Not-
Dwayne Wade
yeah.
level, but
That's my
calls.
only point is you have to see the calls that are going both sides. There's some calls that D Wade has gotten that you see Blake make the same play and it's called differently for him. So it is that little bit of it.
Well, all right, fellas, let's just wrap it up. That was a good talk on who we think is going to make the playoffs. Now, catch us tomorrow and get the new edition of News Around the League.
See you later.
That's it.